One of the major frustrations and challenges that we have as bricks and mortar retail business owners is this thing of inventory. Inventory, it's an essential part of our business. It's the way that we make money, and it's something that is often overlooked. The management of inventory is often overlooked as bricks and mortar retail business owners. So today I'm going to be talking all about inventory. If you're new here, make sure you smash that like button and hit the subscribe button. And I'm going to go through today some of the major mistakes that bricks and mortar retailers make when it comes to managing inventory in their store, and some of the solutions that you can go about implementing into your store so that you can stay on top of the inventory game. So, inventory management is so crucial for our success in our stores, right? Not only it directly affects profitability, but it also affects customer satisfaction and operational efficiency in our store. So it's such a big part of it, and there are so many reasons that as a bricks and mortar retailers that we don't really know about how to manage our inventory properly. And maybe it's because we don't pay enough attention to data analysis within our store. We're perhaps not utilizing our point of sale system well enough to keep up to date with all the accurate sales. And it and if we're not doing that, it makes it very difficult to stay informed about inventory and inventory levels and that kind of thing. And really, none of us went to inventory management school. Like, that is a whole art in itself. And as retailers, it's very challenging for us to understand the nuances. You know, people go to school for years and do MBAs on inventory management. It's a whole thing. Also, bottom line, we may have insufficient access to systems and tools. We haven't properly set those up in place in our store. And that makes it very difficult to manage our inventory. And as a result, we can't plan or forecast what's going on in our store, and that affects our inventory as well. So there's some of the major reasons why we have issues in our store in managing inventory. But if we get all of this right, and these mistakes that I'm going to go through and the solutions that I'm going to present to you. So if we get all of these right, we're basically going to have much better profitability within our store. Obviously, we're going to have stock to sell. We're not going to run out of stock. We're also going to have much better management of cash flow because we're managing our inventory much, much better. And we've got systems in place. And staying on top of your inventory just allows you to be a lot leaner. Ultimately, at the end of the day, you're going to have a much better business that's going to provide more cash to fund your lifestyle and pay for all the things that you love within the business. So let's launch into it. So there are a few major mistakes that I see retailers making within their store. These are some of the same mistakes that I made when I was running my bricks and mortar pharmacies until I was taught how to manage them by my business coach. And so I'll just launch straight into it. So the first major mistake that bricks and mortar retailers make is this thing about overstocking. I'm sure you have heard of it. So obviously, overstocking means that we've somehow failed to predict what our clients are going to be buying from us, and we end up with excess stock on the shelf. Overstocking also happens when we really don't understand what who our target market is, and we buy things accordingly. Overstocking also happens when we sort of get caught up in a deal, a supplier deal. They may lure us to buy excess stock, or basically we're just buying it out of thin air, and a product has lost its shine in the marketplace. So if we get, and when we get this wrong, we've basically tied up excess cash within our store, and that is cash that we could be recycling back into our business, and that cash also involves increased storage costs. And then eventually what happens is we're going to end up having expired stock, and then we have to get rid of it, which is not something that we want to do. Procedures in place to make sure that we're not overstocking. So really utilizing our point of sale system to make sure, taking into account seasonal variances and using the data within our point of sale system to ensure that we do accurate. The other thing when it comes to overstocking is we want to make sure that we have a process in place for when the stock becomes dead. So you need to set what that is for your store and then have processes in place and systems in place so that you actually make is once we've made the decision to purchase stock, we tend to either leave it on the shelf and let it collect dust, or worse still, we leave it in the back office where it never sees the light of day. And I guess we're so committed to not going against the decision we made of bringing this stock into our store that we hang on to it. And it's a very bad decision. If you look at a lot of bricks and mortar retailers, the larger ones, as a matter of fact, they have processes and systems in place. They're continually rolling over, discounting, moving stock over. So you need to make sure that you have strategies in place for that. So that is overstocking and how you can get rid of them. The next mistake that we make is understocking. So this is another big mistake, and basically it's failing to maintain sufficient inventory levels that can result in lost sales. So what happens if you've got a product that's really, really hot and you sort of haven't kept on top of it, where that you notice that it's selling, or your point of sale system hasn't got a trigger in place, we notice it's selling and you're constantly running out of stock. So what happens is you're going to get, obviously you're going to lose sales. You're going to have dissatisfied customers, especially if it's a hot item in the marketplace. You're going to lose your reputation within your community. And it basically can disrupt operations within your store, and obviously stock. And when you have frequent stock outs, you're constantly scrambling. Not only do you have to deal with the customers that are unhappy, but perhaps you're trying to find another product to fill it, not within good time. So understocking is one of those things that you need to stay on top of. And the best way to do that is to utilize your point of sale system so that it provides triggers for you for when stock is running low. And you need to make sure that you get on top of it and start to reorder it very, very quickly. So that's understocking. Another major mistake is we make in our stores is the lack of inventory tracking. So this is a really, really big mistake. Hopefully, you know what I'm talking about. When I'm talking about inventory tracking, I'm talking about doing stock takes and making sure that we're doing stock counts with us in our store, rolling stock counts, etc. So basically, if you're not tracking your inventory, it's going to lead to a whole heap of inaccuracies and discrepancies and errors in our stock levels. And what that results in, obviously, is basically inefficient ordering, delayed deliveries, unsatisfied customers. Your basic point of sale system is going to be a real pigsty. And it's a very common mistake that bricks and mortar retailers make. One, we don't really utilize our point of sale system because we think we can manage it all ourselves, but we are leaving so much money on the table, because if we start to harness the point of sale system that we already have, we can start to make much better decisions when it comes to inventory. So you need to set up within your store some sort of rolling stock take system. Perhaps also you need to set up some sort of system where you're doing random spot checks and all those kind of things. So inventory tracking needs to be a very, very big part of your business, and a system that you need to set up straight away. So that's tracking. The other big mistake that we make as bricks and mortar retailers is we ignore seasonal demands. So we need to make sure that we stay on top of these, because if we're not, we're going to obviously lose out on sales during peak periods, and we might have excess inventory during slow periods, and it just screw up our store. And this also stems from not sufficiently understanding our target market. And we all know we've got seasons within our store. A lot of retail is built on seasons, and making sure that we plan for seasonal demand patterns is so crucial for optimal inventory and management. So what you need to do here is we need to actually sit down, have a look at your business, your store, your demographic, your target market, and map out the seasons like 12 months in advance, making sure that you're catering for each season within your store's life cycle, your sales cycle, and making sure that you're planning accordingly. So the big takeaway here is making sure that you start to plan what the year's going to be, so that you can start to plan the right inventory and make sure you don't have too much inventory, and making sure that you're not running out. You've got the right amount so you can continue selling. The next major mistake that bricks and mortar retailers makes is we've got no recording practices. We've got no system for reordering. So if we fail to establish the system, we're not going to have reorder points. We're not going to have quantities, and basically our lead times are going to go out. We're going to have inconsistent stock replenishment. And then what happens is you're going to have excessive or insufficient orders, and then you're going to have increased carrying costs, and it's just going to be a real drain not only on your staff but also on your money as well. And we want to make sure that we actively set up an reorder process within our business. And that's really important for maintaining optimal inventory levels. And that leads back to making sure that we're doing proper inventory tracking. So making sure just we've got some sort of ordering system in place. You need to set that up. Your ordering system needs to take into account, obviously, the seasons, the I would also argue that the discount structure that you receive from your suppliers, how much stock you want to keep on the shelf that makes it look presentable and full and dynamic so people will buy within your store. You need to consider all of these things when setting up a reordering system within your store. So that's a really big mistake that it still surprises me how many bricks and mortar retail business owners don't have that in place. And we're sort of going around on a whim, walking around the store and doing the ordering, which is not the way to do it. And so there we go. There are some of the really, really big mistakes that bricks and mortar retailers make when it comes to inventory management. And but I would I'd love to hear below. What are the systems? What are the processes? What are the tips that you have to manage inventory within your bricks and mortar store? Pop them in the comment section below. And make sure that you like this video, subscribe to the channel so you can stay up to date on more videos on how you can learn how to grow your bricks and mortar store. And remember, if you want some help with this stuff, let's have a chat. Apply. We've got book a call in the comment section below. We can have a chat about your bricks and mortar store and how we can really start to take it to the next level, improve your cash flow, profitability, and make sure that you can use this store to fund your lifestyle. So until next time, ciao, ciao.